What's going on, YouTube? We're back with the brand new RPG series. I say brand new, but it really should just be called Rebooted because I had put it out there on Twitter and I'd also made a YouTube video about it asking, hey, I really want to make the RPG series better because I totally know I screwed up and there's a lot of things that I did wrong on the old RPG series, and so I want to do a better one, and I don't want to fix the one I have, not because I'm lazy, but because I mean it's one of those things where it's like a company, if they make more money from recalling the car, they'll recall it. If they'll make more money from not recalling it, then they won't. And I'm gonna waste more time, and it's just gonna be a huge waste of time for me to try and fix this. Plus, it's on an old version of Unreal Engine, and that'll be hard to update to 12 or even 13. This new one, we're going to start it on 12.5, but I will update it to 13. I'm just having some issues with downloading and installing it. But either way, you're going to want to launch your Unreal Engine 4, and that's going to start up here real quick. And it's going to go a little bit the same direction, except the one big thing that you're going to notice difference-wise right off the bat, that is if you did follow the old series, is that our model is not going to be a knight. So let's just get a new project, and we're of course going to get a third person like we did last time with starter content, and I'm going to do this called YT RPG better this time. Okay, it's too many characters. Whatever. So YouTube RPG, and that's what I'm going to call mine. You call yours, of course, whatever. With the starter content, maximum quality. If you can't handle maximum quality, I suggest putting it maximum quality and lowering it. I don't exactly know what scalable 3D or 2D does because I've never used that before, but maybe that's just really that just starts you off on low quality. And obviously, I'm going to build this for desktop or console. If you're going to do this for mobile or tablet, this is probably not the series for you. So you might want to find a different video now. I haven't delved into mobile stuff, but I might do it in the future. You never know. Anyway, so we're going to hit create the project, and that's going to take a moment. I don't exactly know how long. It might surprise me and pop up while we're doing some other stuff. But you're going to want to make sure you've got a couple things. You're going to want to at least have all of the Infinity Blade assets. If you don't know how to get those, just go to your marketplace and type in Blade, and I think Infinity Blade should be one of the first ones that pop up. All of the assets are free. Actually, they're the only ones that pop up. Wow, that's actually scary. All of their assets are free. I don't know if I'm going to use all of the environment assets, but I may use some from each one. You never know. I will have all of them. I will not import them into my project unless I need to, because I'm going to try and keep the project updated, and the link will be in the description. If I try and remember to keep it updated. But you will at least need weapons and effects. I clicked on that when I didn't mean to. But you will at least need weapons and effects. I know that we may use warriors or adversaries as our enemy AIs, and these fireland, grasslands, and icelands, I don't really know if we're going to use those yet, but if you want to make some cool scenery and stuff, that's definitely what they're good for. They are some pretty good models. This is from a mobile game, though, so they aren't the highest quality, but they are fairly good, and they're free, so why not? That is the point of this series, and I promise this time I will keep it free. Next thing that we're going to want to do, well, it's already started up. But next thing that we're going to want to do is we're going to want to import our character, and I'm, like I said, going to use something very different. So if you don't know what Mixamo is, it's a great service. By the way, this is not sponsored by Adobe or Mixamo, or this is not sponsored by anyone. It's a great service that I like to use for some of their assets, their models, they could be better, but they're good to do. Last series I did the Paladin. And I found out Jay Nordstorm is just, I'm pretty sure, the name of the person who made the model, I think. But actually, this series around, we're going to be using the Y robot. Y is means well, that's for genetics and another class. But the J Nordstorm Paladin one is the one I used last series. It looks really nice, but I realized, hey, this has armor and everything already built onto it, and we're probably going to want to be able to buy armor in the shops that we have, and we're going to want to be able to customize our armor. And I know these are pretty big things that I did not even remotely do in the last one, but I will try my best to accomplish that, and I think we will get that done. So we're going to use the X robot, or sorry, the Y robot. You can use the X one if you want a female character. I'm just rolling with male, because why not? And you may be wondering why I'm not using the Unreal Engine 4 UE4 mannequin character, which looks way better than this. And yes, I will admit that it does, but for some reason it doesn't import and animate well in Mixamo, and I don't know why. So that is, I've tried several times. I've tried it for the FPS series because Mixamo has some great FPS animations that I would love to try to expand the FPS series for grenade throwing and melee, but it just won't work with the mannequin we have. So we may have to change the model that we're doing for the FPS series. By the way, sorry for the slowdown on that. Been working on a lot of stuff. But back to this. This is what we're going to want to be doing. If you don't have an account for this, link for this site will be in the description. If I forget a link for anything, just tell me and I will put it in the description. But you'll want to create an account, so I need to actually log in. I don't know I did it. It'll auto-log me in. It's not like you're going to see my account info or anything. But you're going to want to go to the link will be mixamo.com/store. So you're gonna, the link you go to will look like this, and then you're gonna want to go to the characters tab here and click on Ybot and add to my assets. Excuse me. Now everything that you have to have needs to be added to your assets, otherwise you won't be able to use it. But right now I'm just going to find animation, and we're going to get some sword animations. So just type in sword, and a lot of sword and shield animations will show up, and some of you may gravitate immediately to the one that comes with the model of him. That's not what you're going to want to use. Any of these animations can be used with pretty much any of these models. That's what I love about this site. You can also import models that aren't rigged, or you can even import models that are rigged and animate them. Just whether they'll work super well, that just depends on how they're rigged or not rigged, how the model looks. So anyways, we're going to want to use these ones that have the paladin, because I trust those. I've used them before, and so we're just going to get some of the basic ones. Some other ones we will add later, but I literally just want sword and shield walking and not walking. So I'm going to get sword and shield, and that'll pop up, of course, all of these ones that we want. So I want to find his, let's see, we're going to grab the idol because I want an idol. We're going to add that to a pack called new_RPG, and every single one you do, we need to add to your assets. And then I want sword and shield run, obviously. This is a backwards run, so I'm not going to get that right now. Let's see, we need strafe. This is a left strafe, which is perfect for what we want. Okay, so here's where something interesting comes to play. You can see it's moving, and when you download the animation, it's going to do that. But that's not what we want, because it looks really goofy, and it moves on, the animation moves on top of the actual blueprint character moving. And so how we remedy to that is we need to add to assets, then add to pack, then select it here. It's going to reload it. That's important. You have to select it here and click in place. Select it here again just to make sure, and make sure that in place is checked, and you will have your sword and shield, and we're good. It needs to be in place because otherwise it looks really weird and it does not work properly. So now that we've got that one, I'm skimming through here, trying to just find our basic animations that we need for now. Obviously, I'm skimming across a lot of ones like attacks, idles, crouches, all these different ones that we would totally use. But we need to add to pack, add to assets, and then this walk, of course, we need to do in place, and then we need the strafe, and then we need to add to assets, add to pack, select it in the pack, in place, and we need a backwards running one, which I am not coming across. Here we go. Sword and shield walk. I know it's very strange it's called walk, even though he's actually going backwards. That's, a mystery to the lot of us, and it is what it is. But we're going to add a pack. We're going to do in place, and there we go. We also need to add to assets. And the cool thing about this is if you don't download all the animations now, you can download animations later and import them, and they'll work just as well. And we'll show how to do that in later episodes. But in this episode, I just want to get our character up and running. I just want him walking, and because obviously we're not going to be using this one, so I'm going to delete that right now. That is important. Make sure you delete him. I did that out of sequence, and that's kind of my bad. But let's go to my assets now, and you can see I've used this website a lot. And we're first going to want to click on your Ybot and queue his download. We're going to actually, hold on, no, we don't want that. We want my animations, my bad. And then the sword, we've got all these sword and shield walk ones, right? But scroll down to where your new RPG folder pack is, or whatever you called it, because I called mine new RPG. And make sure it says you already own this. If you don't, you need to add to pack, because you will not be able to download it if these assets are not owned by you. It's weird, even though every asset on here is free, but it's whatever, and it is whatever. So I'm going to queue the download, and format, we want FBX. Now, sometimes it will have FBX for Unreal Engine 4. Don't choose that. You're going to be like, oh, well, we're using Unreal Engine 4. I thought the same thing. Don't do it. Just do plain old FBX. Do T-pose. That's cool. No keyframe reduction, and we want that stable 60 FPS. So we're going to queue that download. And it's a super small RAR file, 1.86 megabytes. I'm going to open up that RAR file and put it on my other desktop. So as you can see, it included all our animations plus our Ybot. Any future packs that you do, and I'll show you how to do that, you're going to want to make sure that you don't include the Ybot, since we already have that model. It's just wasted space, and make sure you just download the animations. But I'm just going to make a folder on my other desktop, and so that way I know what it is, and I'm going to call it new RPG anims. Open it up. I'm just dragging it over here so I can show you guys, and I'm just dragging it in, and we are good. Now you can leave the RAR, close my downloads tab, and we're good with Mixamo for right now. But in the future, we will be revisiting that wonderful site and doing that. So right now we have nothing set up. We literally just have the project created and our animations downloaded. Well, let's get our character in, our animations in, and get rolling with that. And so what we're going to want to do is, I always create a folder called player stuff, which has to do with his animations, his blueprint, stuff that's closely related to the player. So player underscore stuff, and then we're going to create a folder called anims, because I like to have that separated. Anyways, open up your new RPG anims folder, and at least that's what it's called for me, of course. Wherever you put your animations, open them up, and I'm going to drag all of these assets into anims, And I'm even including the model because the model is, of course, part of the animation stuff. And that's not our character, our blueprint. Our actual character blueprint will be in the immediate directory of that. So the skeleton, we're going to want none because it's going to generate its own skeleton. Animation length is going to be exported time. So really, all of these default settings should be cool. It doesn't... it's trying to import. It was trying to import. Right. Well, that's my bad. It was trying to import the animations before it had a skeleton to reference. So we have to import the Y bot first, which will generate. We need to import a skeleton plus import the mesh. Skeleton needs to be none. Make sure that skeleton is none, because if you choose a skeleton, it's going to screw everything up, because this is going to not generate its own skeleton. For UE4, it's technically generating it, but it's just importing the skeleton that comes with the Ybot. Import animations, import animation length. It's not actually going to import any animations, but we're just going to hit import there and let that run. It shouldn't take too terribly long. And then once that's done, we will import all of our animations. But I will actually rename them. Yeah, I'm going to rename these so that way I know exactly what they are. I'll probably rename them in engine though. We are getting a terrible amount of lag though. Holy cow, my browser over here is glitching out, and I think I'm just going to exit it. Okay. Well, the second I exited my browser, that worked. So as you can see, we get a lot of warnings about Mixamo rig, all this stuff. You know what? Ignore them. They're not important. Just ignore them. You also get these two, which is y_bot_anim take 001. Don't need that. And these two animations that come with it, you don't need them. So just select them, hit the delete key, and then click the delete button, and then you're good. We've got him all T-posed up, and he looks all fancy like he should. So this is obviously what we're going to be using for our character. So, yep. Okay, cool stuff. Cool beans, bro. So with that, I'm just rotating him around the... I was just checking something. Sorry. So with that, now we get to actually import our animations, which is the important part of making stuff look like it's actually moving. So select all your animations and drag them into the anims folder, and then that little pop-up. If this pop-up is hidden by your folder, just click the UE4 window, and it will open up this. Click anywhere on the UE4 window, and it will prioritize immediately to this tiny little pop-up window. Now we can make sure that the skeleton is the Ybot skeleton. Animation length, of course, should be export time. You don't need to change anything in this window except for the Ybot, selecting the skeleton to be the Ybot skeleton. Now we import all. And we're good. So now we've got all the animations. So now I just want to rename these because they have unnecessary names like Sword and Shield Strafe in place, and then Sword and Shield Strafe in place 2 or 1. I mean, man, I really can't talk. So I just want to rename these so that way I know what they are. So the Strafe, this looks to be like he's strafing right. So a real quick shortcut to rename stuff is select something, hit F2, and then so I'm going to strafe_right, and then F2 on here. Since I already process of elimination, I know this one's left, and I already know it's going to be in place, so I don't need that in there. I just need to know that it's a strafe. Anyways, so that looks good. We've got those down, and that's what we want. I just want the forwards and backwards. I'm going to assume that 1 is backwards. Yes, it is. So I'm just going to rename the walk one to walk forwards. and the backward one to walk backwards, obviously. We will get the sprints in there later, and the sprints even have their own strafes. I don't know if you caught that, but that is there, where you can sprint, strafe, and sprint backwards. So that is a cool movement feature if you want that included. I will include that in mine, but if you don't want that part of your game, you don't have to put it in there. So I'm just going to call this backwards. Okay. So that's all we need right now for movement. So we're going to, we still have not yet created a character, but let's do a little bit of project setup real quick. Sorry, my bad. We need to enable socket snapping. That is very important. And then we need to hit world settings. It should already be up on the side, but just make sure you hit world settings over here if it's not, and then go to game mode override. Well, the default game mode that it's using is should be third-person game mode. So tell it to override to use third-person game mode, right? If you're using the third-person document, and then tell it to use the default pawn class. Well, we don't have a default pawn class, so let's create one real quick. We're just going to go to blueprint class and create a character and call this, I'm going to call it RPG Dude. Okay, so nothing is done with him now, but we just need him there. He's actually, right now he's a placeholder, but he will be our real deal soon. So let's go back into anims. Now we need to right click, go to, let's see, animation, and make an animation blueprint with the skeleton that is the Y-bot right here. Hit OK, and we're just going to call this RPG Bro Anims. Open him up, and we've got a bit of stuff and things to do, but right now we're just going to right click, and if it's not in your anim graph already, make sure you go to your anim graph. If it's over here, click over to your anim graph, and if you don't see an anim graph tab, go to my blueprint and double click on anim graph, and you'll be good. So right click, and you're gonna want to type in state and find add new state machine. It should be real close there, and add new state machine, and I'm just going to select it, and it will rename it. If it doesn't start renaming it, of course select it and hit F2, or you can go down here and change its name here, but I'm gonna call it locomotion, because that's what I usually know state machines to be called, because it's the motion of the character. So connect it up to the final result. That's all we got to do here, but this is where the real action happens. And drag off of this and add a state, and we're going to call it idle. And this state obviously will just be our idle animations and our animation. If you have multiple animations, I'll show how to randomize between idle animations in another episode. It's really cool, super easy though, and adds some more flavor to your game, but of course that's for another episode. So we're going to type in idle, and it should just be the first one that pops up, of course, play sword and shield idle. If not, you can go to the asset browser and find your sword and shield idle animation. For me, I think it's like the first one, yep, and you can just drag it in and connect it, and you're good to go. So that's all we need there. If we compile it, he should always be idling, and unless we tell him to do something else, and right now we have nothing else for him to do. But we're going to drag off of idle, and we're going to add a state called walk blend space. And we're not going to put anything in here yet because I have nothing to put in here. But we need to make a conduit back to that, and which you do by hovering over the gray area and dragging to the other gray area, or in this case pink, or kind of orange peach. It's peach. At least for my monitor it is. Anyways, compile that. I hit Control S a lot because I'm always afraid of crashes. As you'll see, there is a warning. You'll have that warning on your compiler. Right now, it is something we can ignore, but in the future, it will be very critical to us being able to do stuff. So we'll fix it later, but right now, we're not able to. So we need to go to, let's see, animation, and then go to blend space, and make one for Ybot, and we're going to call this walk underscore BS. So this is our walk blend space. Whole lot of BS, man. So let's expand that, and we've got a little bit of stuff to do. Actually, I need to see more of this because I need to be able to see the names of our animations. Anyways, so we've got a little bit of stuff to do over here in the parameters box. So the first one needs to be direction. And this is literally actually variables that we will be setting, and you'll see how it works later if you're not familiar with any of this. But we need -180 to 180. The divisions need to stay at 4, and then the y-axis label should be speed, and 0 to 300, I think is what I would like to put up there. Apply parameter changes. If you click on anything else, it's going to remove that, so just make sure you spam it a couple times and you'll be good. Am I good? Okay, hit Control S and we're good. So the idle, we don't actually need that anywhere, but what we do need is we need forwards in the center top, and we also need forwards in the center bottom. And then we need to get backwards in the top left and in the top right. And then we need left in the middle left. And then we need right in the middle right. And then we need right in the right over here. And the right over here. Then we need left right over there, or in the left over there, and in the left over there. So now it should transfer all of our walking animations pretty well, and obviously right now it looks weird and you can't really tell if it's working in the way that what button we press will transfer well to what way he should move. But trust me, it should, and if it's broken, then we will obviously fix it. So now that's good. That's what we want. Now head over back to your graph and go to the walk blend space. Drag in your walk BS from your asset browser and connect it up. Now these are the variables that I was talking about. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to promote to variable and call it, of course, direction. And I'm going to and then I'm going to promote that to variable and call it speed. And we should be good. Okay, so now we need to be able to set these, but how do we do that? Well, that's where a cheat I use comes in called the asset store. So what we're going to do is we're going to head over, make sure you have this, by the way, I should have mentioned this, but it is called, let's see, anim starter, is it not typing? Anim, why is it not typing? Oh my gosh, it's not typing for some reason. That's kind of disappointing, but go to animations, it's going to load up here, and then just scroll to the bottom of the animations, and the anim starter pack, jeez, what the, oh my word, do I need a new mouse or something? I don't know. And then just get the anim starter pack. Obviously I've already got it, we're all cool, but add that to your project, and I need to find mine, should be at the bottom since YT, yeah, YT RPG. And add to project, super small file. It should take real quick. That's real quick. That's a period in time. It shouldn't take very long, but anyways, that's what we've got. And this is just the cheats I use. It goes along the terms of if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So head back to content, go to anim starter pack, scroll all the way down, open up the UE4 ASPE underscore hero TPP underscore anim blueprint, animation blueprint, and we will immediately be greeted by something that looks actually pretty similar to what we've got, right? And that's because that's what's supposed to be used. And so we're actually not going to be copying over anything here. We need to head over to the event graph. So I just select everything, Control C, and make sure you are on the event graph, Control C. I've had some issues with people crashing because they're copying it to the wrong graph. Head over to your event graph and Control V, and now you should be good to go. If you compile, you may have some errors, and we'll fix those real quick. And obviously he'll T-pose, but that's normal. So right click here and create variable crouching. Right click here, create variable enable jump. Compile, all our errors should be gone, and some stuff is missing. That is true, and compared to here, there's some stuff here that is not here. It's fine, we'll fix it, everything will be cool. But right now, that's not number one priority. Number one priority is getting stuff to look cool. So now the speed is set and the direction is set. Pretty much what it does is it gets the pawn owner, which is, you know, whatever character that this is attached to, and gets his velocity, which is like pretty much like his speed, and converts it into a float or vector length, you know, whatever, and sets the speed. Same thing with this, we get the velocity and the rotation in order to get his direction, which we literally calculate the direction. That's a node, and we set the direction. So that's all good. Once again, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, and so I'm not going to fix something that ain't broke. So Control S, save everything up, walk blend space, now we're good. So obviously we have no items. He's pretty empty-handed, most literally empty-handed. But now we need to make sure that it goes from the walk to the blend space, because right now you're like, oh, well, if he starts moving, this is, by the way, is live. This is anything we do in the variables will immediately enable. If it is something to enable on here, it will change it. So the speed, you're like, well, it says, you know, if the speed is up, we should do something. Well, let me move the direction. Well, it's actually not doing anything. Well, why? I just compiled to reset it to default because we haven't told it how to do anything. So I get this little conduit. This is what it's called, or it's a transition node because it transitions from one thing to another. Get this little conduit and drag off of here and get more than equals. And we need to get, and then type float, sorry. Float more than equals float. You should get something that looks like this. And so what we need to do is go to your My Blueprint tab down here, and then drag over speed, connect it to the top one, and then on the bottom one, just do, you could do 0. I always do 10. That's just because what I know to work. I think 0 should work just fine. I just go to my safety fallback of the character 10. Anyways, so speed, whenever speed is more than or equal to the 10, it will go into the blend space, and then the blend space will thus calculate whatever our speed is for however far the speed should be going. Obviously, that's why we have speed here. This is speed, so however fast we should be going. Obviously not very fast here, and then we move much more faster. It's just a blend of whateverness. That's how that works. And then the direction, that's already set. But what if, you know, we stop moving? Well, it actually has no way to tell it to go back, because this is the transition or the conduit back. So we need to tell it how to stop moving. Well, we need to do, you can do less than or equal to, or more than equal to not, but I'll just do less than equal to float. So now we need to see if speed is less than or equal to 10. And if it is, then it's going to head back. So right now, it's less than or equal to 10. So we're at idle. So I'm going to set it at 9. We're not going to go anywhere. Even if I set our direction to like 180, we're not going to go anywhere. Or even 10, or 44, nowhere. But if I go, 9.99, still not going to go anywhere. But if we hit that 10 mark, we're going to start moving. Now it's flashing back and forth. Why? Because we have more than or equals to 10. So we need to literally have just less than float. That is my bad. I realized that the second it started bugging out. Compile that, Control S. Now hit 10. And he's going to start moving. And then, of course, you get to crank the speed up to like 600. He's not going to move any faster because we don't have sprint included. But if he was at 600, he'd be sprinting right now. Or at least if we had that sprint stuff included. Less than, if speed is less than 10. Okay, so it was 0, but if we go to 10, and then we go back to 0, okay, good, we should stop, because previously we wouldn't have stopped. And then if we change our direction now, like 90, we're not going to go anywhere, but if I go 10, we're going to be going at that angle, we're going to be going right, negative 90 should take us left, perfect, 180 should move us backwards. I don't know why that's not. What is negative 182? That makes us go left, it looks like. And 180 makes us go right. So, how do we go backwards? 360? I don't know. The backwards does work, though. I just don't get how. I don't know. It's whatever. We're Gucci. So, you can exit out of this. Let's go to content, player stuff, and open up our RPG dude. Now we get to actually make him operational. This is the cool part, guys. Okay, so go to mesh. Go to static mesh, skeletal mesh. My bad. Select Ybot. Then go to anim class. Select underscore RPG. I don't know why I started it with an underscore, but I did, and that's whatever. Now, he looks weird, and he isn't in the proper place. Also, why did we not select it? Is it because we have an underscore in the name? It's not selecting it like it should. I'm going to hit F2. Now, Control S. Can we... Oh, now we can. For some reason, with the underscore at the beginning of the title, we couldn't select it. Okay, good. So that's proper. Now he's not in his collision box properly because this little capsule is his collision box, and he's not facing the right way. He needs to be facing the way this arrow is facing, and he is obviously not doing that. So we need to get him down to the ground and do that. So select him, hit W, or E, my bad, and give him a 90-degree rotation. Yes, there we go. So now he's facing forward. This is him facing forward. Negative 90-degree rotation, my bad, on the Z. And then hit W and take him down. I think I'm just going to eyeball it. Let's go down to the floor. Oh, my bad. I'm going to unlock this, or no, I'm going to take it down to 5. Okay, so he needs to be negative 85 on the Z. That looks about right. And so that's actually it. All of this, actually, my bad, I am forgetting stuff. This is not complete yet. Go to content, go to anim starter pack, then scroll down, open up the UE, just this thing, just open up this thing, and select all of it, Control C, go to RPG Bro event graph. Make sure you're in the event graph here. Select all of it. Control C, and then make sure you're in the event graph on your RPG dude, and Control V. Delete the crouching because we'll make our own crouching system later. Jump button down should create that variable. We need to create no other variables. Hit Control S, compile it. Control S again, I think. No. Okay, close this stupid character because we don't need him. And if we play, we are our guy. I know the camera's messed up. We haven't set up the camera. But our animations are looking good and we're moving well. So let's set up the camera super quick. So let's go to, we need a spring arm. And we need, so get that spring arm, parent it to the mesh, get a camera, parent it, or child it to the spring arm, my bad. And then make the arm length whatever's comfortable for you. This is good. I'm just going to bring up the spring arm about to his head, rotate it 10 degrees pitch, negative 10 degrees pitch, my bad. And I'm actually going to parent it to his, no, I am not going to parent it to his head. I'm going to leave it there. Because if I parent it to his head, it's going to move with his head animation, and the camera's going to be all over the place. It's going to be terrible. Okay, that looks good. Obviously, his feet aren't moving while we're moving the camera, but that is something that we'll implement later. But if we move left, that looks good. Move right, if we move backwards, told you the backwards would work, I just didn't know how to make it work in the variables. And obviously we have no sprinting, and he is moving a little fast for our actual animations. He's sliding across the ground a little bit, so I'm just going to fix that by going to his character movement, scroll down and find his max walk speed and change that to 300. Compile that, Control S, play, my bad, and that's a much more comfortable walk speed. He's still sliding a little bit. He's sliding a little bit, but you could perfect that by taking his speed down a couple notches. I'm going to try 250, I think. I just want to get it real good because, you know, RPGs like Skyrim, they're pretty slow-paced. I mean, the walking speed isn't the best when you right off the bat and whatnot. So let's try this. Yeah, that's much better. I feel like his feet are a little off the ground. Yeah, they are. Yeah, the sliding's fixed a little bit, but his feet are a little off the ground, so I'm very precise about this. I want to take him down there. Now he should be negative 90. Compile that, play. Yeah, his feet are touching the ground now. He's sliding much less. The gap is definitely closed, and it's harder to tell now. Obviously, he can just make it over gaps like that, but there's a lot of weird errors like that in games anymore. So, cut me some slack. Yeah, so that's good. I want to delete this stupid text because I hate this text, and I want to delete this help because I hate that. Now we've got an empty thing. We're good. Control S. So that's about it for getting him started. More animations and stuff, of course, will be implemented in the future. But I think the next episode, I want to get him swinging a sword around. So we're going to start with a basic. We're not going to get in depth into the sword animations, but we're going to get a basic sword animation going. Sword blueprint going, and then we're going to get him picking up the sword and able to swing it, and then maybe we'll do the shield an episode after that. So thank you so much for watching. Please leave a like if you did like, and maybe you can support me on my Patreon. Follow me on the Twitter or just donate to me on PayPal to keep this stuff going, because it's not free for me to live. So yeah, that's a thing. So once again, thank you so much for watching, liking, commenting, and subscribing, and I will see you guys in the next one.